Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Monday, February 24th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From deep in the heart of Texas, I'm Justin Robert Young.
And the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Folks, you made this possible. It's your fault. Thank you, Chris Allen, Mark Gibson, Reed Fischler. And over the weekend, we got some new patrons. Welcome in Punnies, Ronald, Mitchell, and Matthew. Yeah. Maybe it's Matthew Joseph from the St. Louis Blues. I don't know, but whoever you are, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's always nice to get new patrons, especially over a weekend. And thanks to all of you for supporting us, and thanks to the new patrons. Welcome. And welcome all of you to DTNS Live. This is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Justin Robert Young, how are you doing?
I'm living the dream, Sarah. I'm just so delighted that we get to talk through yet another fantastic day of tech news.
There is not a better way to start a Monday than chatting tech news with y'all.
It's just the top of the pops.
Top of the pops. Yeah.
Cancel this, BBC.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't.
There are certain times where on a Sunday I'm like, ooh, good news story. And then by Monday I'm like, so many other news stories.
I know, right?
I had a whole idea going on.
Jeez. Try covering politics.
Right. Yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah, the Friday 5 o'clock burial ground of news stories. Yeah.
I mean,
boy.
yeah. I'm trying to record interviews on Monday. They can't last until Wednesday.
Especially right now.
I know.
Yeah. The politics news cycle moves fast. Tech also comes at you fast, and we're going to have some quick hits coming right at you right now.
Apple announced Monday it's investing $500 billion in the United States over the next 4 years with a goal to create 20,000 new jobs in R&D, AI, and chip manufacturing. And maybe like 40 billion of that wasn't even already planned. Key expansions include a server factory in Texas, manufacturing training in Detroit, and expanding its data center capacity in Arizona, Oregon, Iowa, Nevada, and North Carolina.
Anthropic launched Claude 3.7 Sonnet, its first hybrid AI reasoning model that allows users to choose between real-time responses or more in-depth, thought-out answers. The model is available to everybody, but only premium subscribers will get access to its advanced reasoning features. Anthropic also introduced Cloud Code, an agentic coding tool for developers.
I just realized when you tell someone you're a model now, it could mean something entirely different than it used to.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Are you on the cover of Vogue, or are you just going to answer my questions?
No, I'm a large language model.
Got it.
Data analysis firm TD Cowen says Microsoft has terminated leases with some private data center operators, possibly due to an oversupply of capacity, or at least trying to avoid an oversupply of capacity. And they may be moving some international spending to the United States. That would also show up as reducing capacity. They'd really just be shifting it around. TD Cowen suspects some of this might have to do with OpenAI moving some of its business to Oracle.
The Securities and Exchange Commission has dropped its investigation into financial service company Robinhood's crypto division, signaling a shift towards easier regulation for the industry. This comes just days after the SEC also dismissed a similar case against Coinbase, fueling some expectations of a more crypto-friendly regulatory approach under the current U.S. administration.
Big thanks to R.W. Nash for posting this one on our subreddit. Google told Forbes it's planning to replace SMS-based phone number verification with QR code verification for Gmail accounts. That would cut down on phishing. It would cut down on messaging fraud, but Google did not provide a timeline when that change might happen.
Prosus, a European subsidiary of South Africa's Naspers, announced that it will acquire Dutch company Just Eat Takeaway for $4.3 billion in an all-cash deal. If the deal is approved, it hasn't been yet, it would create the world's fourth largest food delivery group. Just Eat currently operates in 17 countries.
Just Eat.
On its pricing page, Google now says that VO2, that's the video generating AI model that it unveiled, so to speak, last December. They kind of just showed it off, didn't really unveil it much, will cost 50 cents per second. If you're like, okay, what does that mean? That means if you were to make a minute of video at these prices, that would be $30. It would be $1,800 per hour. You might say, well, that sounds like a lot. TechCrunch notes that Google DeepMind researcher John Barron contrasted this pricing with the film Avengers Endgame, obviously a very expensive film to make, which had a reported production budget of $356 million. So, by that math, that would be around $32,000 per second of video. So you go, $32,000 versus 50 cents. Seems like VO is real cheap for what you get. Now, VO2 is only creating 2-minute or less clips at this point. All the models are really just proof of concept with short videos. So we're not making, major motion pictures just yet. But I thought we could talk a little bit about, all right, well, if we get to a point where you can make an hour of video, or you can absolutely perfect that high-speed car chase that really looks like the actors are doing that, on the streets of New York City type thing, then these models end up becoming a lot more interesting and for, significantly, potentially less money than what Hollywood does now.
That's a ridiculous comparison.
It really is. What was the prompt for Avengers Endgame again? I can't remember.
That was an asinine comparison. And like $356 million production budget. Wait, so I get Chris Pratt in a 30-second? I get Robert Downey Jr.? I get Chris Evans?
The point is that it costs a lot to make video. But I think a better comparison, which TechCrunch also brought up, is like if you were to buy B-roll, like high-quality B-roll to license it, it would be in the hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars. And you're still, like Sarah said, you're only paying $30 for a minute worth of VO2. So it still sounds cheap.
And let me also note, VO2 is by all accounts an exceptional model. Like Sora has been very good, but VO2 has probably, at least in some of the examples that I've seen, done a lot better. A reminder that also the Sora that people can play with right now for OpenAI is a smaller version of it for the reason why Google is deciding to price it at this price point, which is it's insanely process intensive. It's also very slow, which is the reason why it makes sense for them to throw this price point on there is that if you are in this game, you really want it, you are a professional, you are somebody with a budget, or at least a hobbyist that wants to see this kind of stuff at the highest possible level, I don't know if you're going to get the prosumer element unless there's a pretty robust previs where you can get a general sense of what something's going to look at before you hit the buy it now button. But if you put it at an expensive price, weirdly, it will attract a customer who is like, that's cool. I'm okay waiting a half hour for this if it is the thing that I need and want, and I'm willing to pay money for it.
And at what point does VO2 get good enough to do Avengers Endgame? I don't know. But I don't know if that's really
the end game.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if it's really the end game, but it could get good enough to do more than just B-roll, right? And do more than just 2 minutes at 4K. At which point, then it starts to get really interesting. This cost difference of like, oh, but I can do some effects scenes. I can do some cool stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think of this as like, okay, VO2 versus Avengers Endgame. No, that VO2 cannot recreate that movie. But what if there was like, a tricky scene, actors out of town, or the car has to explode, or there's something going on in a part of a movie that this could seamlessly be part of, and it would not only be cheaper to do, but faster and easier to do.
Reshoots, VFX, all of that is expensive, and it may not be $32,000 per second of video expensive, but it's above $1,000 per second.
Yeah, and I also feel like we're gonna get to the point where, I don't know how long they'll be, but we talk about kids watching YouTube. Well, people of all ages watching a lot of YouTube videos, but certainly kids watching a lot of YouTube. There will be just AI generated shows and movies.
I mean, it'll definitely have a place, and I definitely see this as allowing you to do maybe actual, not production work, but allow you to do a lot of quick shot rendering, so you can get an idea of, hey, if we have the monster come out from the left side of the screen. Let's see what it looks like before we actually spend money on actually doing a full VFX CGI,
previs stuff. Yeah.
Just stuff that even if you do it before production, it still takes a lot of time, right? Even doing mock-ups and very crude animation still takes time and money. You could eliminate a lot of that using this, and you could also use it to composite in additional elements. Like, hey, I need the characters in front of an exploding star. Take too much to actually just to do in VSX, and it's only half a second. So why don't we just use VO2 to do it? We'll drop in CG copies of our protagonists, and we'll call it a done deal.
And 50 cents a second now. It's going to get cheaper.
Yeah, I suspect that this will probably be a price for a pro level thing. Like, you might get cheaper things. I think that what Google would like is for there to always be a 50 cents a second or whatever line for some of the best stuff that they do, because that's the other big thing about this current AI driven tech epic that we are in right now, is that in a world of diminished advertising, paying customers are kind of the new metric that people want. The reason why OpenAI is where it is in the battle is not only because of adoption, but because they've got a lot of paying members, and they continue to be able to become a very competitive consumer product. Can you scale that up to the kind of enterprise level? And that's what we're sort of looking at with this, because you're probably not going to just get random people off the street trying things for 50 cents a second, but you will get the YouTube creator, you will get the short film.
You'll get a much larger group of people than you would have before. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it does what it says on the tin, which I suspect that VO2 will be able to do. But I do think that that is the line that people want, is like people who got their credit card out and paid money for it. And that's kind of a change for Google, because they've had a hit and miss relationship with pay me for things. They have had far greater success with the here's a free thing model.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it this way. I look at it this way. When I started in video, it was borrow a camera, rent a camera, because you can't afford a camera. And then pretty quickly Hi8 came along, and then it's like, well, maybe if I really splash out, I can afford a camera, and more people could. Then digital came along, and more people could, and now everyone's got a highly capable video camera in their phone. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here. Is no one could afford video effects at the level that VO2 can do them, and now
or even
50
if you
cents per
could, you
second.
didn't know how to use them.
Yeah, exactly. And now you don't have to know, and you can't afford it, and more people can afford it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody has played around with VO2. I'm still on the wait list, so I don't have a ton of opinions versus what I've seen from Sora. Although what Google has shown just on its VO2 site is very impressive. Again, mileage may vary depending on what you're trying to create, but I really do think that this is going to be a huge tool for any creative person to be able to just do. Sarah jumps off the roof. Like, I'm not doing that. But if it looks like I did, then that becomes some fun
That's
story.
going to be our new show open for DTNS Live.
Sarah jumps off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Roger will be
trust
flying
me, I'm jumping
like
off
a
the roof
squirrel.
because I'm a superhero, not because I, want to die.
Flying like a squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. I jump
Every morning
and then
I see
fly.
a flying squirrel.
Yeah, right. I guess we spoiled the movie, but okay.
That's how you know that the tech news is here, is when
Right.
Sarah jumps off the roof and flies like a squirrel.
Exactly.
It's time. It's
Tech
time,
news
everyone.
time.
Studio Animal House has really taken on new meaning. All right. Well, Tom, something that has also taken on new meaning is the idea that your office may smell, and particularly your mouse may smell. What's going on?
Mine does not, but Asus thinks that yours should. They just announced the fragrance mouse. It comes with a refillable vial on the underside that is washable and refillable. So take your favorite essential oil, your sage, whatever you like, fill it up, and then your mouse will smell wonderful to you. It's also a decent mouse, Bluetooth, USB wireless, available in white or pink, although they haven't told us when it will be available nor how much it will be. I need a new mouse, so maybe this is just a veiled attempt for me to get suggestions from the audience for a new mouse because my scroll wheel is starting to break. I don't think I'm going to get a fragrance mouse, but what do you think, folks? Did you ever think, hey, you know what? I wish my mouse smelled nicer?
Well,
Or at all.
I think this is less about like, oh, mice smell bad on desks, right? It's more of like, do you have a candle in your room and you really like the smell of that candle? Sometimes, I mean, I'm a fan of candles, and a candle, depending on what it smells like, doesn't even have to be lit to just kind of make the room smell good. You know, you walk by and you're like, it smells like fur, or whatever. Not like animal fur, but like a
I was waiting for Asus to explain, like, the motion of the mouse dispels the aroma, but there was nothing like that. I think it's just the essential oils in there, and you can smell it like the candle that's unlit.
I mean, there's also, think about all of the room, Febrezes of the world. It's like, this is a thing that a lot of people like, laundry detergent that has a scent. It's a thing that people like. To have your office kind of have this, I don't know, ongoing smell that you like, hopefully. I don't hate this idea. I know it sounds gimmicky, but I think it's actually kind of a good idea.
Wouldn't it be easier just to get like a Glade plug-in and plug it into your cubicle?
But that's a different. That's a separate product.
Yeah. Also, you're limited to the scents Glade provides.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it's customizable.
Also, considering that the only colors are white and pink and not gunmetal gray and spikes,
it's going for a certain audience.
We can tell which side of the
Brian
gender divide
Cooley.
that they are trying to market to. Let me just broaden it out a little bit.
Okay.
What do you like your workplace to smell like? And should it be something different than you would like your bedroom or living room to smell like? Do you
that
want
is
it to
a really
have
good
different smell?
Yeah, do not put the microwaved fish essential oil in your fragrance mouse and use it at work.
No. I mean, do you just want an antiseptic? That maybe a mint or something that keeps you alert? Like, you don't necessarily want the sage that you'd have in your bedroom in your office, right?
If it could be a deodorizer, like a scent that will neutralize, like, hey, I have my leftover chili dog smell lingering around my cubicle. Will this like help mitigate?
But is it going to annoy your other coworkers then?
Sarah, what do you think? Let's imagine this isn't a group, a
enough of your
communal
tea tree
workspace.
Oil, Roger. It's bothering me.
This is not a communal workspace. This is your workspace.
But that's
Sarah.
my
So
conditioner.
Well, that's kind of how I think of this. Is like, we're
Yeah,
not
it's gotta
talking
be.
about like cube life, because
No.
at that point, no one's going to agree on what smells good. Trust me, I've been there.
Our office scent this month is cedarwood. That it was decided in the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, tea tree oil. Sorry, Roger.
It's wonderful for the scalp. I kid you not. It's in my conditioner.
No, I have it too. I've got it in my bathroom. But do I want that in my office? Because it does have it's a distinct smell. It smells kind of antiseptic, and that's not a horrible thing for a bathroom. But I don't think I would want to smell my tea tree oil, essential oil here in the office. I don't actually have any candles in my office because I'm just like electronics. I don't need fire in here, like that kind of thing. But I do in the rest of my house, and I do think that, much as people say, like, how much would a bouquet of flowers really change the living room? Then you get them and you're like, wow, it looks so nice in here. I think scent is very much like that. It really can change an atmosphere in a way that you don't necessarily think ahead of time.
I'm gonna go with grass. I think like something
grass.
that is like fresh. Something that reminds me of like adventure. Like those are the smells that I want.
Wait,
I don't want
like
anything
I'm
that's
about
like
to use
relaxing.
Perplexity's new search engine. Yeah.
I mean, if you could tie the scent release to like whatever application you're using. So if you need it to be
it doesn't
like,
do that.
Like I'm at work, I need something a little calming, and
Right.
it has an array of smells to
That's the fragrance mouse 2 with multiple vials that you can.
And then you're just
associate with apps.
multi-core essential oil.
It'll be like half
release.
sea salt, half
Yeah.
like cedarwood, half tea tree. A lot of halves. You'll know.
No, I like that because I don't want lavender when I'm trying to like work. Right, I don't need to be calmed down. I need to be hyped up like with grass.
You want maybe like coffee scent.
Ooh, yeah. Which I can
know?
get with my coffee, but
Sure,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
No. But a coffee smell kind of comes and goes. But you want to smell
Consistent.
like a coffee shop.
Like I'm at a roastery. Yeah,
Exactly, like a bunch of beans that are just sitting there
full of
making good
beans.
smells. Yeah.
The more we talk about this, I know we were kind of chuckling about it before
Yeah.
we started the show, and you're right. It's very easy to have a small vase, over in the corner with some
Sure.
essential oils and do exactly the same thing that's what's going on with this mouse. But depending on the price, and I think that's very important, and knowing that you're going to have to be buying
Oils.
oils.
yeah.
and,
If you're not already into
and-
essential oils, you're
and
gonna have to
refills.
get a supply. Yeah.
Right. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I would
I
get it
want it
in
to
white. I
smell-
would not want a pink mouse. But I also so this is another issue is I know Tom, you love your mouse. Roger, I think you also use a mouse. Justin, I
Yes.
don't know about you.
I'm a trackpad man.
I'm a trackpad man as well. I have had a trackpad either, in the laptop that I use, or I use the Magic trackpad here at my desk in Studio Animal House. But yeah, like it's been a long time since I used a mouse. That's why people, mouse pads. I'm like, yeah, mouse pads.
I was gifted a wireless mouse and mouse pad that was like a recharger, and so I've been using that actually lately in my office. But by and large, I'm a trackpad man. Can I go back to smells? So I would like my office to smell like a Costco, just somewhere where like I need to get stuff done immediately.
Yeah,
I don't want a smell to make me feel comfortable. I want it to smell like something where I need
want
to
chaos.
complete the task.
And
like,
occasionally
fast.
it smells
Yeah,
like
but-
dumplings, depending
but
on
like
where you
when-
are
yeah.
at your workday. Yeah.
The concession part of Costco, the produce section, or just like the middle aisle where the
Rotate
clothes
it.
books?
Rotate
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Have it move around.
Yeah, like I just need.
That's the
I need to be
Fragrance
put.
Mouse 3.
Like when they
I
bring
need
out the
Branded
roast chickens.
collab scents.
I need to be
every
put on edge.
30
I want
minutes.
ambient noise that makes me like uneasy. Like
Yeah.
I need to complete this task or else something bad's gonna
The
happen.
WeWork scent.
The smell of over leveraged debt.
I just feel like anything that smells like food would just I would just be
Oh, no.
hungry and I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to concentrate. I'd be
Yeah.
like, it smells like a hot dog right now. I need
My
to go to the
scroll wheel.
ballpark.
Maybe I just need to clean my scroll wheel, but my scroll wheel isn't going up anymore, and I've had this mouse for a couple of years now. I don't want to get a mouse that's even wireless because I don't want to have to charge it or change batteries. I can't imagine myself changing essential oils in this thing. That's the other thing. It's just having to manually go in and change anything in a mouse bothers me.
I don't think you do it on a daily basis.
Maybe use oils that are
No,
less
but you
essential.
don't even have to charge a wireless mouse on a daily basis either. But still, I'm like, I don't want to have to think about my mouse. It's
Maybe
one
you
less
could have
Mm,
actual mice come out and change it like a little NASCAR.
Oh, can it smell like actual mice? Like the little food pellets you give them?
Now you've gone too far.
The
We
least
need-
popular essential oil.
does
The
that- who
controversial
even knows what
forbidden
those smell
essential
like?
oil. Mice.
Have you ever been to a pet store?
I've been
You
to
know-
a pet store and I don't want my office to smell like that. No.
Some people might. We're not trying to yuck your yum if you do, but
to each their own.
you know,
To
yeah.
each their own. I'm not sure how
No,
many
I'm gonna
essential oils are
yuck
out
it.
there.
I'm gonna yuck that yum. Yeah, if you want your desktop to smell like literal mice, I'm gonna yuck it. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a line.
You're drawing the line. Well, folks, if you would like to speak back with another story idea, this one was on our subreddit today. Your story could be the next one we talk about. Go to reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
All right, Justin. Perplexity had a bit of an announcement this morning, or an announcement of a upcoming announcement. Anyway, what can you tell us more about?
Well, this is a little bit outside of the realm of DTNS, because DTNS always endeavors to give you the hard news as they have details for it. But I feel like this was enough that I really wanted to talk about it. And it's a tease for an agentic browser called Comet. Now, Perplexity is an AI-driven search engine. It has a very good product, one that similarly, if you've ever used ChatGPT search, it's a similar idea that it'll summarize results for you and then deliver a pile of links when, at the bottom to show you what it summarized and annotates.
And
stuff like
powered
that.
by OpenAI's models, no?
It is powered by,
Yeah.
I think they use a few of them, but OpenAI is one of the sauce. But now they're going to do a browser. This is the first of the AI companies to spread out into something like that. And it got me thinking about two things specifically, and you guys can take each of these in whatever order. Number one, are we ready to evolve our relationship with the browser? Meaning that we will come to think of us going to websites and interacting with those websites ourselves as passé, in a similar way that a graphical interface made us think about command line computing as archaic, or at least archaic to many. And then also, if Comet becomes successful because it does have something that other browsers like Safari and Chrome don't, is that a threat to Google's search dominance, which is part of the reason why Chrome even exists?
Well, it's certainly, I mean, if it offers something that is people want,
It's
then
not the
very much a
first
threat.
to try.
Yeah.
We've got Brave, we've got the browser company, we've got Opera, we've got Vivaldi.
To do agentic browsing?
I'm just reading. No, to challenge Chrome, right?
True. Yes.
So what Perplexity can bring to the table, which actually the browser company is trying to do as well. And Perplexity, I think, has got an edge in that they're already doing this with search, is our browser will do things that no other browser could.
Yes.
But Chrome also could, because Google has its own agentic AI.
But is not yet.
They have not unveiled it. Are we looking at another, a red alarm moment for Google where Perplexity brings out Comet and suddenly Chrome has to hurry to catch up and release a bunch of stuff? That hasn't been great for Gemini, but Gemini's in the game. How would that play out in a way that hurts Google the most or helps Google the most? Like, are they beyond all hope?
Yes. Another chapter of Justin's favorite longest running serial, Google Doomsayer Lightning Crash.
It's the sequel to #Portal to Hell. Google Doomsayer.
As soon as we got out of heavy-handed content-wide moderation, I had to sadly retire #Portal to Hell. Wiz Khalifa was rapping as I said goodbye to my old bit, and now I have my new bit, which is that Google has a problem. And dare I say, listeners and viewers, Google does have a problem. And here's the reason why. Chrome exists because Google search. Android exists because of Google search. If Google were not rightly looking into the future and saying, how will people search for things? Let's make sure that we have an outsized presence in this world, one that we have to ensure by giving these things away for free, then they would probably not be where they are, because Google search not only is a top of the line product, but Google has been ruthlessly efficient in terms of making it very easy for people to use their state-of-the-art free service. But a few things happened on the way to the forum. Number one, Google search got worse. And number two, now you're looking at, I think for the first time in their life, Google should look at products like ChatGPT and Perplexity and say, wait, they have a better product than we do. They are better at getting over the pain points that right now mar their goose that lays the golden eggs, which is search, for which they can sell advertising against. It delivers cleaner results, it delivers faster results, and quickly we are getting away from the number one problem that AI had, which is hallucination. you've heard less and less about hallucination, especially in these products, because they give you the links that you were going to get anyway. They just put it in a paragraph form. And so it might be easy to say, yeah, there's been a million different competitors to Chrome. This will just be another one. And it might well be. But they're not going to be the last to do it. And if Perplexity and Comet do push Google to make adjustments, with all the faith that I have in Google on their AI team, because I do believe that they have a lot of talent, they have a lot of money, and they have as much training data as they could possibly have, including relationships with consumers, to use data that is coming in currently. The one thing that Google does have a massive problem with is just middle management, where they push things that are too fast or not fully baked, and they have a souring effect on their consumer base. So this is one set. I also think that there are moments that are yet to come, and I don't know when they're going to happen, but they're going to happen suddenly. Like, when does Safari allow Perplexity or ChatGPT to be a default search engine on Safari, on mobile Safari? Mm-hmm. Those are going to be big moments, because that's a lot. I mean, Google pays a pretty penny to be the default, but if you just have the ability to switch, how much of the global search market share is that worth? Like right now, ChatGPT's in the mid single digits. Is it worth 5%?
Yeah.
10%?
Ask
15%?
Yeah. Or Ecosia or one of the current ones, right?
I also, the AI powered search engine is powerful. Perplexity is one of the better ones. But there are options. I was earlier trying to think of, okay, if Comet the web browser, brought to you by Perplexity, is AI powered, what does that do? What does that look like? I'm looking at my browser right now. I'm using Chrome. I've got 100 tabs open because I always do. I'm looking at our 2025 Daily Tech News Show live rundown, which we do during the show. And I'm sort of like, all right, how is that browser experience truly reimagined? Because I know how to use this one really well.
The dream is you don't go to a website that you are not explicitly excited to go to. Any website that you ever go to because it's a chore that you need to go, you now have a browser that you trust, that is completely under your control, that you can just have it do a thing and either complete the task without you ever seeing it and have it bring you proof that it's done, or you can have it bring you information so you never need to go to anything yourself ever again. Your fingers can be used for tasks other than spending any time on a website that you don't need to. So
you're just telling it what you need to do, and it's finding the email, the website, the information through search or whatever, right?
When you're talking about just getting things done, yes, that's helpful. I go lots of places on the internet because it does bring me joy. Like,
you can still do that.
Gonna tell me, what Tom's dog posted on Instagram without me going, no, I want to go. I want the tab open.
But you can say, show me what Tom's dog did on Instagram, and it will know what that means and go do it.
Or every time Tom posts his dog on his Instagram,
it'll tell you,
sure you
there's a
show
new
it
post.
to me.
Do you want to take a look at that? Yeah.
That's
you guys are being optimistic. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just like, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how it works.
Like, imagine a sidebar or command line or something. It'll probably be better than that. And then you have to change the habits. We're in the habit that is trained by 30 years of browsers.
Right. Yeah, that's why I have 100 tabs open.
Like, oh, okay, I have to use a browser this way. This is going to change that metaphor. And the reason metaphors haven't changed till now is it's really hard to get people out of that mindset. There have been no end of people trying different ways of doing browsers, and they always like they find a following, but they never get the masses to change because it's just not worth it yet. This could be, whether it's from Perplexity or somebody else, Agentic AI is the thing that could be good enough where you're like, oh, once you see it work, you get it, and like, that is better.
I am a believer that this has the capacity to change the paradigm of how we deal with computing in the same way that graphical interfaces did. Like that was something that
That's a great comparison, because I was one of those jerks who was like, no, command line forever. And then eventually was like, you know what? The graphical user interface is actually easy.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, I click a picture. A pretty picture brings me to the thing that I want. I think
the command line was not killed. Right?
No.
It just
It's still
is
thriving.
for
Yeah.
certain people who are like, I prefer this. I don't have to use it. I prefer it.
It's useful in its situations now, for sure. Yeah.
It's definitely mixed use, right? And that's, honestly, I see it more of not so much being a substitute, but being sort of this will be the bulk of it, but you will still go to a website when there are specific things.
There will be times when the old way will still be.
And I
perfectly
again, I think
acceptable.
it's not one over the other. I think there's going to be uneasy, at least for the short term, sort of like straddling of the two until someone figures out how to
people
integrate
people use the command line today.
Yeah.
Like
I used it this morning.
Yeah, it's not a
And he's
contest,
still
Roger.
using it.
Just this morning,
But yeah, I think that's the
He
promise.
can't stop using it.
So like for example, Sarah, if you had a browser where you just fed it a picture and said, hey, upload this to all my social accounts where I post pictures, and tomorrow just let me know if anybody interesting commented on it. Now, you never go to Facebook. You don't have to go to Instagram. You don't have to go to any of these things if you don't want to, right? And you just get, and you have to look at your own comments. It curates your comments and tells you what you want. And you can then give it filters of internet-wide. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, it has the promise of eradicating walled gardens in a way that really defined the last 15 to 20 years of the internet.
Interesting.
That now you are in control of everything that you do with a browser. That's the promise. Now, how does it deliver? I mean, if you look at tools like Operator or there's another one that's escaping me. It's rudimentary. I think it works better in some places than it does others. It tends to choke on websites with a lot of text on it, which are a significant portion of the internet. So are we there now? No. Could it give some use cases and killer features that shake things up? I think, the answer is going to be no until it's yes. And I think that we are getting closer and closer to that ice flow breaking off and something really, really changing.
Well, I mean, it's true that, besides a variety of extensions, which have made browsing experiences more interesting, depending on how you want to use them, the browser experience has been the way that it is for quite some time. You've got browser choices for sure.
Yeah.
But they all work the same way, more or less. You go to a place, you got tabs, you save stuff, you bookmark things. And that's when you're explaining, like, this is how it could be. I'm like, no, sounds scary. Let's just keep it how it is. Because that's what you do when you're like, I don't get it yet.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
see it yet. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll try to, I'll try. But you take tabs away from me.
Yeah.
And we're
Well,
gonna have a
Perplexity still
problem.
has to ship Comet. So, we've got some time.
There's
to get
that.
used to the idea.
Yeah.
All right, Roger. BBC posted a story about the research into making YouTube videos. Some interesting stats here. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, so they did. Ethan Zuckerman, the director of the Initiative for Digital Public Infrastructure at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, did a research, conducted research.
He did a research. I like that.
He did.
He did research.
And it was messy.
It was very messy.
It was a messy
but they wanted to essentially get an unbiased sampling of what YouTube content looks like, so they could get a more statistical view that wasn't colored by what YouTube's algorithm was recommending or what users were just selecting for themselves. And it was a very interesting methodology because they essentially had to cold call a bunch of YouTube URLs, and they used a computer program to do this to get around the 10,000 or so videos they did for the initial study. The program that they created had to generate 18 trillion potential YouTube URL requests. And so it would drop in the URL. If nothing came up, it showed up a dead link, then they would go on to the next one. If it found a video, it would take that video and download it, and then would send it over to human researchers to evaluate it for the various stats they were checking off for. Now, some of the findings they found was that in 2022, YouTube had they estimate around 9 billion videos. By 2024, that had grown to 14.8 billion videos. They analyzed that less than 21% of the videos 21% of the videos they analyzed featured any kind of monetization. That means ads rolling into the.
Isn't it 0.21%?
Yeah, I said 0.21.
Oh, okay.
0.21%. Of the videos they analyzed featured any kind of monetization. So no ad reads, no mid rolls, no nothing. 14% of videos had some kind of background design, which means that the other 86 were just free flowing, just like whatever they were standing in front of. And then what was interesting? Bathroom, kitchen, whatever.
Car. Yeah,
and more.
We've all seen it. That they still are alive and well.
More than 40% of the videos just had music, no speech. So you see occasionally you'll see like a little YouTube video and there's a bunch of text, but just music, no speech audio. 16% of the videos sampled were primarily still images. And actually, I like this one. English was the dominant language, which is no surprise, but it only accounts for 21% of non-music videos on YouTube. The second was Hindi at 7.6%. The third was Spanish at 6.2%. This was surprising. At fourth was Welsh at 5.7% of the videos available.
That is interesting because you're saying like basically 79% of videos are not in English. Again, these aren't the ones people see, but the ones that are uploaded
that are just existing.
Yeah. So people in India, Spain, and Wales are uploading or have uploaded over the course of YouTube's history a lot of video.
Yeah, which implies that there's a lot of other languages that people are using. I've seen Sri Lanka. I've seen videos from Sri Lanka. Bangladesh.
You would expect this to be proportionate to the languages spoken in the markets with the biggest usage of YouTube, but that's not what this shows.
No, and this is a total random a random sampling of the videos that they culled through this process.
It was 10,000 videos for the initial study, right? So there could be also a random bias creeping in here too, because there's 9 billion video or 14 billion videos, but still.
But it is a very interesting look at sort of the way the stats layout of what the makeup of YouTube is, because predominantly I've always had the perception, quite wrongly, as evidenced by the statistics, that it was like 80% English language, whether it was American English, British English,
because that's
Canadian.
What we see.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Those are the ones promoted by the algorithm, and also music videos. Music videos are going to bring that English language percentage up quite a bit,
and they remove that. It's funny.
So we have to remember that these percentages are without that.
Without that, and what's funny is they actually did a comparison with and without music videos, and it was roughly the same. The language. So I found it really insightful of how many people.
Why did they remove it then if it was roughly the same?
Well, it's because they wanted to see if music videos would influence the number of.
And they found that it did not.
They found it did not, and so they parsed them out already.
I thought the point of you saying it didn't account music videos is it was different if you had music videos.
These percentages are from there, but it's not far off from the ones that do include music videos, because when you assume music videos, you often
there's just not enough music videos to change the percentage, probably.
Exactly. So it's really interesting that how low on the level that English was. I always thought it was just a lot more because, of course,
also 4% of videos haven't been watched a single time. I would have guessed that's higher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that would be automated videos, right? Like those are videos that are probably
or a video you uploaded and never went and watched yourself.
Yeah, but that's rare, right? If there's a human who's uploading it, they're probably at least clicking on it to see whether or not it uploaded. These are likely programmatic on some level where they're just, getting pumped out.
I'm thinking back in the day, you could post directly from the camera app on iOS to YouTube.
Yep.
There probably were more of these then, right? In the history where people were just constantly posting to YouTube in the pre-Instagram TikTok days, and then not going back and checking them later than now. I bet it almost never happens now.
I would assume probably in foreign markets there's similar situations like that where there are
auto posting to YouTube.
Yeah,
maybe.
And the median YouTube length of the medium YouTube video is only 64 seconds long. For some reason, I thought it'd be longer, like a minute, but 64 seconds seems.
Well, they
awfully
used
short,
to
which
be.
lends credence
They used to
to-
limit you in the early days, and then now you have shorts, which
Yeah.
is, encouraging people to post shorter videos again.
So wait, you thought it would be longer, like a minute, but it's
around
64 seconds.
no, longer than a minute. I thought it would be
Longer
like
than a minute. Okay,
longer
gotcha.
than a minute.
Gotcha.
And then a third of videos are less than 33 seconds long. So that definitely does show sort of at least an influence of the YouTube shorts. But 74% of videos don't have 0 comments, which all my videos have 0 comments. And like just the stuff I've posted.
Yeah,
Well,
people
this is-
always complaining about YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Only
First-
26% of the videos even have them.
I use, I don't know if anyone else does it, but I use YouTube as sort of a repository. Like I have a bunch of videos on my on my machine, and I just uploaded them just to have them somewhere else so I can
Just
share
so they're
them out.
backed up in the cloud. So
They're
to speak.
backed up in the cloud, but if anyone ever wants to see it, I just send them a YouTube link,
Yeah,
which
right.
no one's asked me yet. But eventually, when someone asks me to see the clip, I will send them the
Feedback
YouTube
at dailytechnewsshow.com. Ask Roger to share his video.
But I thought it was really fascinating. I thought it was a really interesting look at sort of the makeup of YouTube. And one of the things that the studies sort of noted was that at the stage, YouTube was not only a platform, but was almost infrastructure, like just where people were storing stuff in the
Yeah.
same way that, a library isn't just, a place where you have books, but it's a storehouse of a collected.
YouTube is too big to fail when it comes to being the world's video archive.
Yes. And I mean, archive.org, I love them to death, but there's a lot of stuff on YouTube if you're looking for older, whether it's a commercial or old instructional videos. It is the go-to for everything.
Yeah, the stats nerds are going to love this. They should take a look at it. I was a little annoyed by how I saw it being presented, where some outlets were doing it as like Google is hiding the true data of YouTube, and more videos are never seen than are seen. And I'm like, I don't think they're trying to hide anything. They just don't get anything out of making this data public because it's more of interest than it is promoting anything. Also, of course, more videos don't get seen than get seen. That's when you got 14.8 billion videos, that's more than one video for every person on Earth.
Yeah, the absolute scale that you have to think of when you are running a site like YouTube that can get the kind of view counts that you see on there is pretty staggering. And to understand that what we think of as well watched YouTube is the tip of a pyramid made on a lot of content that barely gets seen.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. To just kind of sit back and go, wow, there's way more content on YouTube than you will ever know. Like it would be impossible for you
this
to.
is like the
even if you're not just following the
90%. Like this is like with any social media thing. There's 10% of the posters get 90% of the attention.
It was interesting. A while back, someone created a website that would show you YouTube, but they would show it to you like TV. So it would you could turn channels, and there were 7 channels, and they were specific subjects, but you couldn't pick what would come on or what part of the video it started, and it would just go to the next one randomly within that thing. And I thought it was very interesting because, like, even if you were to sit there, you could not watch everything within your at least my lifetime.
Never.
Unless you have some,
No.
supernatural abilities.
Unless you're
to
immortal.
forever.
If you're immortal, maybe.
Can't be done. Whether you're immortal or not, you send us emails, and we like to talk about those emails. So let's check out the mailbag.
Yeah, thanks to Mohan for this. Was wondering with the new UK law that Apple has decided not to comply with and therefore dropped its advanced device protection encryption. Doesn't Microsoft and Google have to face the same thing? And the answer is no. We talked about this a bit on Daily Tech News Show Briefing today. Me and Rob did, if you want to listen to our longer conversation. But the short version is Apple's advanced device protection does more than you get normally. We talked about that. It stores the encryption key with you. That's why Apple can say, we can't give you the key. We don't have it. It's on Tom's phone. Whereas if you don't have ADP turned on, or you're doing business with Google or Microsoft, they have the key. Now, they have the key in a very securely managed situation, so it's very unlikely that somebody can get to your key. And there's lots of great auditing about how secure that is. But because they have the key in their server, they could hand it over. And with ADP, they could not. So that's the difference. Apple's still encrypting things, even though they've turned off ADP in the UK. It just means that if the UK asks them for a key, they can hand that key over because they're managing all the keys for everybody now.
We also got an email from David having some thoughts on how AI can help humans. David says, my wife wants to change jobs, but she freezes in job interviews. The language, pressure, thinking on your feet. She doesn't like interviews. David says, I asked Gemini this evening to do a mock interview for admin jobs, focusing on problem areas that she's highlighted herself. Gemini took an hour, provided mock questions, worked through the answers, provided alternatives, provided methods for answering, and just keeps helping. David says, it's honestly one of the most powerful things I've seen in tech for a while. I'm sure ChatGPT does the same thing, but Gemini, as reported by my wife, felt really natural. Started to feel like talking to a person was the feedback.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really good example of it helping with a job situation. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a job interview in a while, but speaking in public has always been something that fills me with dread because I just want to do good and I'm afraid I won't do good. And something like that. I think we all have these scenarios where we're like, I don't feel like I'm at my best in this scenario. Can you help me? If a tool can help you, that's cool.
They should make a Super Bowl ad out of it.
Yes, they should. Yeah, they should. Remember that you can send in any comment that you might have. Questions, comments, we'll take them all. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Justin Robert Young, we have always enjoyed your presence here on the show, but you're a very busy man. You do a lot of other stuff. Tell us about your latest.
This old thing? Yeah, don't worry about that. Attention mechanism with myself and Andrew Main. We talked about Grok dropping last week. Is it worth the hype? We go through what is real and what isn't. And we'll have a new episode this week up as well. It's going to be a good time. The attention mechanism with myself and the original prompt engineer for OpenAI, Andrew Main. Available wherever you get podcasts.
OPE. Original prompt.
OGPE.
Are you down with OPE? Yeah. I get
Yeah, you know me.
Andrew.
Got it.
We also know that you have been submitting possible titles for today's show at showbot.tv, at dtns.showbot.tv. Running away with the votes is Larry in Atlanta's Gee, Your Mouse Smells Terrific. Ask your parents. We also from Larry in Atlanta, Click and Smell. Yeah. Stealth Dave went are you a model? Runway or LLM? No? Okay.
I like that.
Batfig 2001 with Click One by Calvin Klein. Chrome has a perplexing problem from GPEG84. I also really like G. James B's Buy Your Command Line.
BSG reference.
Yep. Sarah, what did we go with?
We went with Click and Smell from Larry in Atlanta.
It's the future.
I mean, it's descriptive.
It is what it is.
You right?
Yeah.
You click and you smell.
You do all of those
Hopefully,
things.
yes. Hopefully, the aromatics are what you wanted.
Big thanks to everybody who supports us on patreon.com/DTNS. You get commercial-free RSS feeds for each one of our shows. They are separate now. It's not just one RSS feed anymore. It's one for each show, including the bonus episodes. Big thanks to the folks on LinkedIn watching us. Hi, both of you. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube viewers, for watching. Good to see all of you here today. Rowdy chat going on. That's very nice to see. And big thanks to the Twitch folks who are supporting us with bits and subscriptions. Zoe brings bacon with 4 bits. Technomensch resubscribed with Prime for the 23rd month. Stealth Dave for the 20th month. And we got a follow from FanCulo13, as well as I'm going to change this later. Well, when you do, let us know. And thanks for your support by following us on Twitch.
Speaking of being supporters, we would love for you to support us with some fun merch. You know, wear it loud and proud. We got lots of good stuff at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. We got mugs, we got t-shirts, a mouse pad, whether or not your mouse smells like anything or not. You can have a pad with our new DTNS Live logo, which is a very cool logo. We're all very excited about it. So they're great looking ways to support us and the show, or maybe a gift for somebody who enjoys our show. Just a reminder, you can watch us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow with Emily Forlini and an EV shopping guide. Hope to talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.